Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start on episode 3 of the engine build. We're going to be putting the rotating assembly in today, the rings and everything together, dropping it all in, getting it all closed up and ready to go. The only thing we won't have for the rotating assembly, or for the bottoming to be done today, is we don't have a water pump, oil pump yet, and I also need to drill the oil return line for the turbo into the GE pan because it does not have it from the factory. So we're going to have to do that on the next video. But today, let's get to it. We'll get the rotating assembly done and finished and on to the next part. All right, let's get at it. Alright, so here is our pistons. We have Manley pistons, and if I'm not mistaken, we got, right here's the part number for you guys if you want to look these up. But comes with your instructions on it for gapping. Now, when we did have the block at the shop, getting the bottom end cleaned and everything, I went ahead and had them go ahead and gap these piston rings for boost, since we're going to be boosting this. And here are your rings for the pistons. Now, this will be your top oil ring or compression ring. This is your bottom. And this is how you want to install them. This has the little flange cut on the top of it. And then this one has a little step facing down. So I don't know. Here, let me see if I can get to it in one hand. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the camera or not. But this one has that little step groove right there. This will be your bottom ring. And then this one right here will be your top. You have your oil expansion ring right here, oil ring, and the two little cap rings for it. So we would have done this last week with episode 2, but I did not have a ring compression tool or a ring expander tool, so I had to run to my local AutoZone and pick these up, and they'll do just fine. So we'll go ahead and get this. I'll put some mystery oil on a rag, and what we're going to do is put our rings on the rag and clean it around, make sure there's no residue on them or anything like that, and then we'll go ahead and start installing. Alright, so on these rings, what I'm doing is I'm taking the ring you could obviously see there's some dark marks here, dark marks there from where I've already cleaned the top two, or the top and first and second ring. But how we're doing this, I gotta try to figure it out with one hand. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in there like so. I'm just folding it over, and we're rolling it all the way around to get any residue or any grime or anything off of it. And while we're doing that, it's also lubing it, getting some of this lube on it, so that'll help it with its break-in and stuff. But that's what we're doing. So I'm going to put you up on the side, and we'll just get the rest of these cleaned up and ready to go.
Check it. Check it. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
So now our next step is to go ahead and put our pistons and rods into the block. Now to do that, we turn this to, instead of top dead center, we're going to have it right on the bottom. That way you have more leeway to get your rod into the block without scraping any of the edges. And we did oil each cylinder with the mystery oil to make it go in nice and smooth. And all our rings are also lubed with the mystery oil as well, just to make sure that's clean. But just to make sure, we'll use some mystery oil a little bit more, just to, like I said, it's definitely not bad to make sure your cylinder walls are nice and clean. That just had a little bit of lint on it, and we don't want that. So just go back through, wipe it one more time. These are already clean, but I'm just making sure there's no lint or anything in it. They're all good to go. Now, when we're doing this, your rod bearings that we have sitting right here, we're going with we did the King Racing main bearings, and we're also doing the King Racing rod bearings as well. Now these rod bearings, you can't really mess them up when you put them in, because they're all identical. So it don't matter what you put on top or bottom, as long as you have there's a little lip on one side, just like we had on the mains. You just got to make sure it clips into the rod correctly. If it don't, then you're trying to put it in wrong. Just take it out and redo it again. And we're going to use some of the Permatex assembly lube on these. Don't want a wet one, want to have that dry. Don't want that back there, so just going to wipe that off, make sure there's nothing behind it. And then we're going to pop this down into the groove, like so. And then we'll grab our Permatex assembly lube, just put a little bit on there. Don't have to be a lot at all. There you go. Now, you want to make sure you're in the correct location on these pistons. Like I said, there's an arrow that's facing forward, so you want to make sure that it's forward like it's supposed to be. And then we'll take our handle, Now that's in there. Grab the rag. Clean that off. Slide it on down. Alright, it's all the way down there on the bottom end. Now we'll go ahead and do the back one, roll them over, and we'll put the caps on it. We got 6 in one end. So what we'll do is we'll get the caps for these two. Right here. And we'll go ahead and put the bearings in and then go ahead and get that set. So these are already wiped down. We'll go ahead and put that bearing in there. Put this bearing in this one. Alright. Now we'll just take some Permatex and I'll do it right here like that. Right there like that. Now those are already on there. So we'll just put the bolts in and torque it down. Or we won't torque it, we'll just assemble them in there. Just so it'll hold so we can rotate the assembly. And then what we'll do is we'll torque everything when we get them all in. Also, the caps, when you put these caps back on, like I said, when you're putting the bearings on, they have that little tooth on it. Well, if you see in the rod, this side's smooth, this side has ball teeth on it, one on the left and one on the right. So obviously when you put the cap on, just make sure the teeth are on the same side. That way you know you're putting the caps on in the way they came off. Now this, it has some of this thread lock stuff on it already. Oops, on the bolts already. But we'll go ahead and just put a little bit more on here. And put some underneath the bolt. And this. Alright, so I already got the assembly lube on all the bearings for here. And we're gonna put the last two in, rotate it over, and get these torqued down to 44 foot-pounds. So, I'm gonna make sure the top and bottom rings are in the right position. This is definitely a cheaper version of a ring compression tool. You can get this at AutoZone, Advance, any of them really. And it goes up to like 5-6 inches, I believe. This one does, bore wise, or piston size wise. But next time I build an engine, I'm definitely gonna cop for a ring compression, just the ring that you can get. ARP has them. Wiseco has them. There's some other piston brands that actually sell them. It's just a solid ring. It's tapered, so you just slide your piston into it. It's a lot easier than this, fiddling with it and everything. You're gonna go and try to get this last one in. I've been fighting this compression tool like crazy lately. If you're gonna do this compression tool is okay. I repeat, okay. It does work, but it is a pain in the butt. Because it likes to flop around on you. Make sure that's greased around. And we'll try to see if we can get this done. Last one I tried to do on camera, but it didn't want to cooperate, so. There we go. Alright, we'll go ahead and roll this over. And bolt it down. Now these ARP bolts that we have for the rods that came with it, they call for them to be torqued to 44 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The other ones I just got hand tight just so I can get it all in here. Go ahead, like we did the other ones, just grease up underneath the head of the bolt and threads. As recommended. We're definitely going to have some extra grease, which is totally fine. We can put it up for later and use it for something else that we might need. Alright, so all the rods are in. They're all hand tight. I'm going to go ahead and torque them down here in a minute. But alright, now they're all torqued down. and finished. So what I'm going to do, clean the heads of these off. They don't say to do this, but I'm going to do it just for my peace of mind. If I ever have to come back in and do anything, I'm going to know that these haven't been moved or haven't backed off or anything like that. So what I'm just going to do, put a little paint mark just for me to know that they haven't moved it. All right, here we go. So since the last thing you guys saw, I torqued all the bolts down, and then I opened the garage door, roll out here so y'all can see it in the light. But the rotating assembly is done. Now all we need is the water pump, oil pump, and gaskets and stuff. Then we start closing up the bottom. Thanks again for everybody tuning in to episode 3 of the 2JZ block assembly build. We're finally done with the rotating assembly. Now it'll just be the oil pan, water pump, oil pump, everything to close it off. Like I said in the previous part of the video, we need to do the oil return feed line for the oil pan, and we don't have that from the factory, so we're gonna have to drill and tap that. And I'll actually be going up to my father's shop, and he'll be helping me do that because I do not have those tools here. I couldn't even do the ring compression and stuff for this week's video until I was able to get paid from work and go get the necessity tools to do that. But there's a little red in the background. Probably once this part of the engine build is done, we're gonna probably wait till summertime of 2023 and start the body work on that and get that all ready. I need to be able to move that so we can roll the engine up under it and bolt the transmission up so we can see what we're gonna have to cut, because we're definitely gonna have to move that firewall. But thanks again for tuning in. Please like, tag, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Comment, let me know what your thoughts are on the videos, what you think I could do a little bit better. I'm definitely still new at this. And if there's anything that you want to see regarding this, or any information regarding the engine build or the Corolla wagon that I have that this will be going into, just shoot me a comment, let me know. You can follow the channel on Instagram as well at Taino Moto on Instagram, or here on Facebook or YouTube. Sorry. All right. Thank you guys. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.